Banking giant UBS Group has disclosed exposure to XRP-linked ETFs in its latest SEC 13F filing. The filing shows UBS held 317 shares of Grayscale XRP Trust ETF and 197,369 shares of Volatility Shares XRP ETF.
The banking giant UBS Group, that has nearly $7 trillion in assets under management, has been buying up XRP ETFs. This is a massive story, guys, and not only that, we have another story breaking, which is going to come from Ripple, and it has to do with Ondo, Connexus, JPMorgan, XRP Ledger, Ripple, of course, and Mastercard. What they just did is groundbreaking, and it's a massive, massive signal to institutions that we are good to go, guys. And keep in mind, this week, if you've been watching this channel, we've been talking about how you're going to hear all these massive news stories come out. So don't be too excited. Don't FOMO in the market. We've expected this to come just through all these events, conferences, and symposiums that are coming up. We are going to see massive news stories, and here we are. Earlier this week, we saw the DTCC tokenized securities announcements, which we covered on this channel. And now we're seeing Ripple, the XRP Ledger, and XRP making some big moves. In this video, if you want to check out why institutions are understanding that Ripple, XRP, and XRP Ledger is the way to go, this is going to be that video for you, so don't go anywhere. Let's go ahead and get into this first story, which is the one that has to do with Mastercard, Ondo, Connexus, etc. This comes from Ripple on May 6th, 2026. Read along with me here. Check this out. It says, this is a meaningful step toward 24/7 global financial markets by combining the XRP Ledger with global banking infrastructure. This pilot shows how institutions can execute cross-border transactions in a single integrated flow. We are seeing the institutions are choosing Ripple, and Ripple has spread out across the world. Globally, they have reached all the major banks here, and they're getting their licenses globally as well. It's being activated, it's getting turned on. And what we're seeing about Ripple, a lot of people are saying like XRP, why would they choose that? Because there's other tokens out there that could be a better option for these institutions. While that may be true, it's important to understand that these institutions want a full package. They don't need just speed. They need the speed, they need the reliability, they need the ability to freeze accounts. There's so much behind the scenes that institutions and governments demand that this kind of technology or product or service has that other projects may not have. So that's important to understand that. It's also important to understand that institutions, yes, they're going to want that speed, but if they're going to have to wait, we'll say, I'm just throwing a number out, so don't beat me up in the comments, but if people need to wait a minute to make sure everything's secure, finalized, and up versus getting it there in 30 seconds, they're going to wait that extra 30 seconds is what I'm trying to say here. It's more than just about the speed at the end of the day. There's so much more that goes to it. And this post from Shanaka really explains how big of a move this is and why it's big, and the timing of it is really exciting. So let's go ahead and get this post that he posted on May 6, 2026. And for anybody that's new here, all the things that you see on my screen is going to be down in the description below for you to use. My research is always down in the description under source, so use it if you want to check it out. I highly encourage that you do. Let's go ahead and get into this, and let's get through this post. It's amazing. Check it out. It says, yesterday, 4 institutions settled tokenized United States Treasury debt across borders, across banks, across time zones on a public blockchain in under 5 seconds. Nobody connected it to what happened the same day at Morgan Stanley. Read them together, and the two-tier architecture stops being a thesis and becomes infrastructure. So that sets up this post, and this sets up what's really going on here. Yes, there's 4 institutions that got together to tokenize and settle United States Treasury debt across borders and across banks, across time zones, and while the banking system was closed. This is a massive move to 24/7 financial markets. We're seeing that happening right now, but let's keep going. Let's read more about this post. Let's check it out some more here. It says on May 6, Mastercard, Ondo Finance, JPMorgan via its Connexus blockchain platform, and Ripple completed the first near real-time cross-border redemption of tokenized U.S. treasuries on a public ledger integrated with interbank settlement rails. Ondo's OUSG fund, representing short-term treasury holdings with approximately $610 million in assets, processed the redemption on the XRP Ledger in under 5 seconds. Mastercard's multi-token network routed the instruction for Connexus. Connexus debited Ondo's blockchain deposit account. JPMorgan's correspondent banking delivered USD to Ripple's Singapore bank account. The entire workflow executed outside traditional banking hours. Ian Bode, president of Ondo Finance, called it the first time tokenized treasuries had settled across borders and banks in near real time. Think about what this is doing. We are seeing the execution of the XRP Ledger and what it's really built for. We're seeing Ripple being a prominent figure in the financial market globally, and we're seeing that Ripple isn't replacing JP Morgan. These crypto banks aren't replacing the legacy. They are enhancing the legacy banks, and this is how they're going to do it. Let me show you a visual. So for the people that are more visually ability to learn versus audible, check this post out here. I want to walk you through it here so you have a better understanding of what this really did and how this really functioned and operated. Please take a screenshot if you want to save this, because I'm not going to put down in the description because it comes through something I made. So check it out here though. This helps you understand it visually. Check it out. So step one was Ondo. Ondo Finance initiates redemption of OUSG tokenized US treasuries on the XRP Ledger. Then the redemption instructions get sent over to Mastercard. Mastercard uses the multi-token network. Network routes the redemption instruction to Connexus. Connexus by JPMorgan is a blockchain settlement. Connexus receives the instruction on debits Ondo's blockchain deposits account. That gets settlement instruction gets sent over to JPMorgan, which is now settled in fiat USD. So JPMorgan's correspondent banking network delivers USD to Ripple Singapore bank account, which is delivered in USD dollars to Ripple. So Ripple's Singapore bank account has received USD dollars in their Singapore bank account from Ondo, Mastercard, Connexus, JPMorgan to Ripple. All this happens in 5 seconds, guys. This is massive. And then you want to say, well, why did they choose XRP Ledger? And this is key. And we're going to circle back to Shanaka's post here, though. This is key about the XRP Ledger. It's public, decentralized, and permissioned. The OUSG is issued on the XRP Ledger as a native issue currency. Transfers are controlled by trust lines with built-in compliance. Built-in compliance, very important. Controls at the protocol level. They have the ability to freeze, authorize, and restrict. With no smart contracts, compliance is native, controls built in, the assets have to obey. This is the reason why institutions want to use something like Ripple with XRP Ledger. It gives them control. We are not going to break from the system that's already there. Legacy system is building in a control system that they can freeze accounts and claw back and do all these things. But let's go back over to Shanaka's post and let me keep on going about that. And this is going to build on what I just showed you here. So check it out. It says the XRP Ledger, let me just highlight this for you guys so you can see it. The XRP Ledger was chosen for a reason that matters more than speed. XRP Ledger tokenizes assets via native issued currencies with built-in trust lines that give issuers the ability to freeze, authorize, and restrict transfers at the protocol level without smart contracts. Ondo controls who holds OUSG. Mastercard controls the routing. JPMorgan controls the fiat leg. Every node in the settlement chain has a compliance switch. The blockchain is public. The assets on it obey. And this is the distinction here. The assets have to obey. Yes, your XRP Ledger could be public, but the assets in which this runs can be controlled. That's the thing that I think people miss about crypto. And people still think that we're going to break free from the legacy banks and the government and all this. That's just not happening, guys. And you see how that just now happened. They've already tested this, and you're going to learn more about that here in a second, just in case you're not following up with the geopolitical events. They've already done this. So check this out. We're going to keep on going here. But he's going to elaborate on Morgan Stanley, which we just covered in my previous video. So check this one out. It says, on the same day, Morgan Stanley began actively testing direct cryptocurrency trading on its e-trade platforms for 8.6 million self-directed clients at 0.50% transaction. The bank already launched MSBT, the lowest fee spot Bitcoin ETF at 0.14%. On April 8th, it advises clients to allocate 2 to 4% of Bitcoin. It plans a proprietary digital wallet for the second half of 2026. Morgan Stanley is building every on-ramp to Bitcoin. The one public blockchain that has no trust, lines, no issuer freeze, no compliance switch, and no admin key at any layer of its protocol. So this is where we're going to keep on going about Bitcoin versus an altcoin or XRP Ledger, etc. Bitcoin still can't be controlled as these other ones can. Although, yes, they could be public ledgers. Nobody, quote unquote, owns them or controls them, but they control those assets. That's the key there. That's the thing that I think a lot of people miss about this. But let's keep going here and let's understand why Bitcoin is so prominent and expensive versus something like XRP Ledger, the XRP token, etc. It's all about control here, guys. And we're going to elaborate on this a little bit more. So check out the rest of this post here. It says the Genius Act mandates freeze capabilities for stablecoins. The Clarity Act classifies Bitcoins as a digital commodity because it lacks them. Mastercard is building the controllables tier settlement infrastructure with $1.8 billion BVNK acquisition and more than 100 partners in this crypto partner program. Morgan Stanley is building the uncontrollable tiers distribution infrastructure across ETF, spot, advisory, and wallet layers. Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury, froze $344 million in USDT on April 24th under Operation Economic Fury. Nobody froze a single Satoshi because nobody can. The distinction is no longer public versus private blockchain or crypto versus banks. It's a controllable versus uncontrollable, and both sides are now being built by institutions that once rejected both. Mastercard and JPMorgan are building rails for money that obeys. Morgan Stanley is building on-ramps for the money that computes. This is the key here. They're building two different systems, essentially, the elite and the non-elite, right? You can have the Bitcoin structure through Morgan Stanley that's still free operational. They can't control your assets. But going through JPMorgan, etc., they can control, freeze, claw back, whatever, your assets because they have that natively built in. That is the key distinction to understand that. So when they froze those assets of $344 million in USDT, they did this at the Strait of Hormuz, and they were able to show and demonstrate we can still essentially sanction countries if they're using these assets. If Ripple is indeed replacing SWIFT or at least tying into SWIFT, they still have the ability to sanction certain countries. And that's the key here. They want that control. They're not relinquishing control. So let's keep moving here, guys, and let's really understand what's going on around us as we look what's happening today. People are finally waking up to crypto. People are getting more aware of this or getting more curious of this. And by the time they fully understand, the institutions will be fully baked in. The price won't be where it's at today. The people walking in the door, a year or 2, 5 years from now, they're going to wish they got in earlier and did their proper research, but you're here for that opportunity yourself now. I hope you're taking this seriously. I hope you're doing the research, and I hope you're using your time wisely right now, because this is where millionaires can be made over the next 5, 10, 20 years as this new system goes live and fully goes full scale. It's going to be a different world, guys. Like 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to look back and go, wow, I had this opportunity. That was really awesome. One more story before I let you guys go, though, and this is a pretty big one. So May 11th is the potential for Kevin Warsh to come in. So check out this post from Crypto Rover, May 7th, 2026. It says, massive. U.S. Senate will vote to approve the first ever pro-Bitcoin Federal Reserve chair in 4 days. So in that 4 days, Kevin Warsh could be the new chairman May 11th if he is approved and sworn in. This is something to keep your eye out for. Not only do we have all these big news stories coming out from the symposiums, conferences, now we have a new Fed chair coming up potentially May 11th, 2026. Keep your eye on that. If he does get approved, I would not be surprised if you see that Clarity Act follow 2 to 3, 4 weeks after that announcement. Let's see what happens. I could be wrong there. Don't take that as financial advice. Don't go rushing into the markets. Just understand that we have a big week coming up next week and the weeks to come. This summer is going to be wild, guys. Get ready for it. Be prepared. Stay level-headed. Stay educated. Don't FOMO in. Don't get fudded out. That's all I have for you on this video. Please hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you like this kind of reporting. Just facts, no hopium. We would love to have you part of the channel. Before I let you guys go, though, take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you. Become that change you want to see in the world. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you on the next one.